Welcome to this episode of the Customer Centric Retailing Podcast. This is Anil Patel, founder and CEO of Hotwire Commerce. In this podcast, we discuss e-commerce, omnichannel technology, pre-order management, brick and mortar operations, retail culture, innovation, and how all these elements come together to create customer-centric retailing. Join us to hear the brightest minds in the retail industry share their experiences and thoughts on the most relevant topics today. Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to another episode of Customer Centric Retailing Podcast. Today, guess who? We have Cameron Baty with us. He's the co-owner, founder of Rocky Mountain Soap Company. Hey, Cameron, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Anil. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man. I'm really happy to have you here. You know what? Our audience definitely wants to know more about you, your background and your journey and all that. Instead of me speaking to it, I'll have you please tell us about your journey from your starting point being a customer of soap and other products to what you have today, you have built. Tell us about your journey. I'm sure it's going to be fun.
My wife and I are partners on the business. So we were customers of the business before we bought it. It was a tiny startup, had like 80,000 in sales. And we were young at the time and wanted a business to either buy or to start. And we were talking to somebody in town, a friend of ours. And he said, well, I know the soap company's for sale and they pay their rent because he was their landlord. And so we were going in to buy Christmas presents. And, the next thing you know, a month later, we owned it. And my wife ran it day to day for the first year. And I helped in the, weekends and evenings. And then I left my job a year later or 9 months later, and we took the journey together for 25 years, continuing to kind of bootstrap and slowly grow it. And here we are, older.
Awesome. This is really good. In fact, I can really connect it because back in 2003, yes, that's when I and my wife together bought ourselves a motel in the state of Washington. And we ran it for like 5 years. And so I know what it means. And it's always fun at that age. You get your business and then, you take care of all those little details, right? It's so much fun. Awesome. Why it is definitely fun, but I really know it is hard work. It's no easy task because when you get start with a small business, you have to watch for your expenses and then trying to get customers and revenue margins and all that. Especially with your business, I'm really interested to know more about growing from that initial $80,000 in revenue to what you have today with 12 plus stores and then relationship with 20 plus partners on selling your products in their stores. So that's like a really good success. So I'm sure it takes a lot of details, a lot of work, a lot of strategic planning and execution to grow from that small single store to all this big business. From, I don't know if you started, how many employees you had, and probably you have 100 plus employees today. So tell us about what was that key in your business? What was that key secret? Tell us the secret that we'll make public today.
Yeah, well, for us, I guess there's probably a few things. One is being energetic and hardworking. Like in the early days, we made nothing and worked super hard. And, it's just, it's not rocket science. It's just, work hard. And for us, two, business things is a great product. Like we do really have an excellent product that's natural. And once people use it, they like to keep using it. So that was a key. And then customer service, trying to take care of the customers and our team. And you put those fundamentals together and it eventually gets you there.
Awesome. Really good. You said, these magical words that, you have a really good product and you continue to deliver it, consistency to the customer, and customer sticks with it because now they use it and they like your product, so they keep coming back. Well, this is easy to say, but keeping that product quality consistent is no easy job. And that's where, I really, appreciate what you've done because in a small business, you always have that constraints, financial constraints, and then marketing budget, and all those constraints are there. in those, generally people end up compromising on product quality because they cannot make up enough in margins to pay for all those expenses, right? So, what do you think in your journey from initial days so far? Have you had similar experiences? If so, then can you tell us about like how did you kind of um, get yourself up and running and keep moving from those kind of experiences?
Yeah, like for product quality, like, as when you're small, you don't have all the resources like you say, and you make errors and that. But if you're, open and honest with your customers, they tend to, forgive you for the most part, as long as you're doing your best and being open and honest with them. So, that's been our take on it, and we just try and get better every day. And as you get bigger, you can hire more resources and try and do a better job, and just keep trying.
Awesome, awesome. So, like you said, being honest with the customer, keeping that relationship, building that relationship. For sure, I think when you started like 25 years ago, you were on that physical retail. Digital business did not even exist as much at that time. So the retail locations and then having that personal relationship with the customer definitely helps keep that two-way communication going, so we can clearly understand what our customer wants and what the problem is, and even our customer would know the kind of effort we are putting into building that quality of product, what goes into it. So probably they are okay to pay a little bit more for the higher quality product that is really properly taken care of, loved through the journey of being production in the production. So that totally makes sense. But like as you grow from one location to more than one location, your customer base increases, and then it gets harder because you cannot be at all those 12 locations at the same time. And this also then came in this whole digital e-commerce revolution, I would say, where lot changed. A lot of I don't know what's your ratio, but there's a good about the companies who are focused on physical retail still get 20-25% of their revenue online. Now that adds another complexity because now your relationship with the customer is digital. So how do you keep that relationship that bond with customers strong when you have this mix of stores and online sales?
Yeah, like to your point, as soon as you have two stores, really, you can't be in both places. So we've never personally had a super strong bond with individual customers except for like the first year or so because we were focused on growing the business and we got to multi locations fairly quickly. So the only way to do it is through number one is through your team members. So, create a great culture, hire great people that really want to believe in your mission and want to service the customer. And that's the only way really, other than your, digital communications or whatever kind of communications, external communications you have, it has to be through the team. So we just focus a lot on hiring great people. We try and treat people well and have authentic interactions, with our customers, and it's really through the team members that we can do it.
Awesome, awesome. This is really good because definitely, human relationship is important. And as long as this is something which very commonly goes in the business, like if you take care of your employees, then they'll take care of the customers. So I see that that's what your mantra is here. Um, Also, like, I don't know, I have definitely, I'm sorry, but I haven't really actually myself purchased products from your company yet. But I will next time when I get the opportunity. But at the same time, getting this average order value, increasing that value is always definitely a mission or a goal for the retail to increase the revenue as you increase your customer base. So what are your different, ways of packaging products, and how do you actually make it easier for the customers to consume the product at the same time enjoy it and make it part of their life events and all sorts of stuff? So how does, because it is personal product.
Yeah. Yeah, like you say, AOV is important. It's very different in retail versus e-commerce. A way to influence it in e-commerce is what your minimum order value is. So, like for free shipping. If you keep it at relatively high, then the average order stays relatively high, but then you sometimes miss out on the people that just want to try for the first time and they don't. So for us, beyond that, it's creating a wide breadth of products so that we can, if you're using soap for cleaning, but get your shampoo or your deodorant or all of those things. So, a wide ranging assortment of products helps. Yeah, that's about it from us. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So, for your business, definitely, having a good assortment is critical. At the same time, that again adds another set of complexity to the business, right? Because now you have this whole assortment to maintain, and then once you do that, the challenges come in because you have some products that sell really well, but others you expected that they will sell, but then you are now having to manage that whole inventory situation, right? So that's having a strategic planning issue. Like, how do I plan my next 6 months of sale? How do I produce for it and all that? So do you have like some secret supply chain experience or some kind of a, forecasting mechanism that you and your wife have come up with, or how do you kind of deal with it?
There's no secrets, that's for sure. And we have positions now in the company that we never even knew existed before, right? Like demand planners and things like that. It's a big deal, and especially we manufacture all of our products, so we don't just have to order finished goods from a supplier somewhere. We have to order all the raw ingredients and the packaging and labels, and then assemble it all or manufacture it all. So it is a big deal, and to your point, it gets very complicated very quickly. And advice for people starting out, the simpler you can keep it and the less SKUs you can have to suit your business, the better. Like I'm involved in a couple of startups right now, and we're trying to keep them very, very simple, and a low SKU count. So it is very complex. We have an ERP system we've had for maybe 6 or 7 years now, NetSuite, and it helps, but you know, it's complicated, and people that sell you on it's going to be save you a whole bunch of money. It doesn't really save you any money because you have to administer it and you have to administer it correctly. But it's critical. You got to know where your inventory is, how much inventory you have. You got to get plan and do your best guesses at what you need and manufacture it at the right time. And so it's very complicated.
I know this is true because I'm on the other side of the table for in your situation. Like we've been working with a lot of retailers and manufacturers in the supply chain, I say, management for with the software, and I always see that definitely, you implement ERP systems and start collecting data, but then to do what do you do with it? Like you can collect data, that's okay, one part of it, but then the next step is how do you consume that data? That is even more harder, challenging. I can totally understand once you put in these technologies, they themselves need so much of investment. And it's not one-time thing. Who says it's one time? Like, come on. Every year, there's like so much effort that goes into it because, again, a lot of thinking changes, the way you see your products, you see your inventory, and the whole market situation actually that changes itself. So that is for sure. And with this COVID coming in, a lot of this whole digital commerce picked up. Like people started staying at home more and more. So when they go out, they are more interested in going out, doing some outdoor activities. So a lot of their regular purchases, they do it online and get it delivered. In that situation, again, order processing gets challenging, inventory tracking gets even more challenging. So this is where this whole omni-channel and all that comes in. How do you see your customers? Like, do you see that digital and physical retail converging and mixing up with each other? For example, customer looking up products online before they come in the store. Do you hear that kind of stories, or that's not in your industry?
Oh yeah, completely. And we've been in e-commerce for a long time. Like we've had our website for over 20 years. and we're a couple of our stores and our home base are in tourist areas in Western Canada. So it was a great way early on to just retain customers who are up here visiting and then went home to the States or wherever they went home to. And so it was great in that aspect. And it's, continually grown over the years and until it became like a real part of the business. And, if you consider it a store, it's by far our number one store and it's almost equal to all of our retail. Like it's probably 40% of our business right now. But it's very tied together. Like for us, everybody has the dream of just, driving, web traffic and having exponential retail or web growth. And for us, we haven't been able to figure out, how to do it. So really our retail stores drive our e-commerce traffic. So we open more stores, we get more e-commerce traffic. And like you say, people, will research ahead of time before they go to the store or they'll walk by the store and then they'll go on their phone and find out what we are. So it's very, very complementary. We do a lot of digital marketing, like email as an example, and that drives traffic to our website, but also drives traffic to our stores. So they're very, very linked, and retail is not dead. Like when during COVID, we went down, closed all of our retail stores, and we went 100% online. But then since there's been a big resurgence in retail, and people are going back to retail, and retail's great. So, but you need both, and yeah, to your point about data, it's challenging. We're on Shopify POS now and e-commerce, so that helps you at least tie your customer transactions in, so they might shop once here on e-commerce and another time, at your retail, and you can get a better picture of their lifetime, habits with you, etc. But yeah, they're totally blended together.
Yeah, this is great. In fact, I like what you said, and this is my consistent observation in my previous podcast with other guests who've been, doing this retailing business. Something very common is that, when you open a retail location in certain area, the e-com business in that region goes up. Uh, so, and that's where, this is interesting because your customers can now, they see your store and it becomes a experience center. People know they can come and check out the product. Once they checked out the product, at that point, it's the convenience of getting the item ordered and getting it delivered as soon as possible at the lowest possible shipping cost. So that's where, this whole retailing complemented by digital website, retail locations paired with a digital e-commerce business makes total sense. Uh, Also, like, when you have this customer experience of buying, when they're walking by, they try our product and then they go home and they're looking up the product before they go to the mall or wherever your store is to buy. That is other habit very commonly we've seen these days people have. Um, Again, in case of Shopify, I really like more and more customers are actually using Shopify, and then Shopify POS actually helps a lot, especially because now your Shopify becomes your customer data platform, CDP. So that makes total sense, and also it makes it easy for you to analyze your business. So yeah. Also, like, does it also feed into your inventory planning? Do you take the ecom data and use it for planning inventory, or you're still like, how is that help? How does it pair with your ecom? Because there's this ecom business coming in. So do you like regionally locate your inventory and then fulfill those inventory from that region, or is it like one warehouse? How do you do that whole thing?
Yeah, right now everything is fulfilled from our workshop. Where we make it is also where we fulfill. So all our e-commerce is shipped direct from there. So yeah, and yeah, we forecast for e-commerce just like we forecast for every individual store and our wholesale business.
Right. Okay.
And
And
the
then go ahead.
the Shopify just ties into our NetSuite, into our ERP to, for all the inventory management. If you buy it, generally you know what you're buying and are happy with it. We have a no questions return policy, so people can get a full refund even if they've used three quarters of it. But it's a low average price of the product as well. So it's not worth sending it back, unless we think, there's an issue with the product that we want to see the product, or if people are gaming the system or something, we might. But other than that, we just let people keep the product and give them a refund or send them a replacement or whatever. It's just not worth those reverse logistics for low average order.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and also earlier you said you have a really strong bond relationship with your customers. Once they are customer, they stay with you for significant time. What that also means is that they totally get it, that returns are not helping anyone. That's why also like conscious customers are generally not, they are conscious about wastage, and they don't want to hurt you. So I think probably that also helps, or maybe that also comes into play. No, nice. That's good to know that the return problem is not as much experienced with you. Cool. So like let's say if you wanted to get back the data on, how does that whole feedback loop of your products that a customer wants to return help you in case of like returns and feeding back into product development? So what can you give us with some examples of like how does it help?
Yeah, it's important. We have natural products, so we have natural preservatives, which aren't as strong as chemical preservatives. And so sometimes that causes issues, and we need to know about that. So our customer service line from our website, is a valuable tool, and we try and answer the phone a lot. Like it drives me crazy when you have, hundreds of $1 million companies, and they don't have they might be open like 9 till 6 or 9 till 4 Monday to Friday. Like it's terrible. So we're open all week and try and get a wide range of times for the different time zones in North America. So that CX customer service line is important, and then our retail stores are important. So whenever there's a return on something, they put it into one of the Microsoft forms with a bunch of questions, and then that gets amalgamated back to our quality department and our production team, and they use that to find out where, which products customers are not resonating with as much, or where we're having some quality issues, which we try and improve. And then having the direct interaction with the customer helps us figure out what the customer is looking for as well for new products. So my wife and her team, use that for product development.
Awesome, awesome. So, this is interesting. In fact, I like the idea of that, getting that feedback loop and using that to, for product development and product improvement. It's pretty much like in software, we call it iterative software development, where we put something in front of the customer and get the feedback so that whatever we are building aligns with customers' needs. We are not just building something in isolation. So I could see that flowing in here as well. Awesome. Cool. So, well, this is something is very close to my heart, and definitely I want to bring it up towards the end of this conversation. Is we are going through this big economic growth cycle. Economy in the world is growing fast as it can. What that means is there are more consumers. There are more consumers, and there are more companies producing so much. At the end of the day, GDP is all these sales, and there are buyers who are buying it. Um, and in that process, a lot of what we purchase, we don't even consume. And on the other side of it, to produce so much of items, so much stuff, there are all kinds of practices in place. Um, People do whatever they need to produce items in a reasonable price. So this whole sustainability, is not actually a real fancy word for me, but uh, I, I'm kind of like fascinated by this idea that how growth actually on one side is helping the community, but on the other side is actually not something that I can accept easily, because it's coming at really big cost. So this sustainability, is the topic. Now, tell me about like what is your take on sustainability and how does it impact in your business line of business and how do you guys take care of it?
Yeah, we've been always sustainably focused. Now, we don't do the best job we can always. We try hard, and um, as you get bigger, it's harder to turn the ship. But we're very, very focused on it, and we always have been. And that's the type of like customers that want natural products generally also want sustainability. So it's very aligned, and core to our business. So we really try hard at it. Starting with obviously natural product and organic ingredients and things along those lines. But then it goes into, wind power and solar power and reducing waste, and packaging is a massive one. And that's our biggest opportunity. We've been too slow in my mind at aligning the sustainability of our packaging to our product. And it's hard, especially with liquid products. It's very hard. But we continue on it, and we do things like we have returnable refills. You had kind of asked ahead of time, like how do you balance the financial cost of these things? And so customers will bring back, a 1 liter bottle. We'll get it back to our workshop. We'll clean it. We'll and refill it and put a sticker, "I've been refilled" on it. But it costs us more than buying a new bottle, and but it's the right thing to do. It's what our customers want. But fiscally, we'd be better just buying, brand new plastic bottles and using them. So you just have to believe that your customers value these things and that you're going to gain new customers and retain existing customers and do it. But it's a challenge. We're on a journey right now to align the life cycle of our packaging with the life cycle of our product, because you can have packaging that lasts 500 years or 1,000 years and product that lasts 2 years, so we want to bring that down. So we're going to be we've always been paper based wherever product, but wherever possible, we're going to be a lot more paper based. And then we do use PCRs and, a lot of glass, and the refillables is a big component for us, but we're really trying to strengthen what we do in those areas. And it's a never ending journey for sure.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, I like what you said that it sometimes it costs you more to refill the bottle than actually buying the new plastic bottle. And this is where this whole consumerism comes in. Remember back in the day, I'm sure when you were younger, in high school or middle school, we used to repair things. Today, today you just replace it with something newer version of it or newer item. So, I mean, like society, the way of life has changed a lot. And that's why when you say that you would take time and put in effort and in fact even lose some money, but to do the right thing, clean the bottle and then refill it. Hopefully, and then hope that customer will actually appreciate it because, at the end of the day, business has to make money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think companies like Patagonia have paved a good way in that. Like they want you to repair your stuff, not buy new stuff. And, people are going to buy new stuff. But yeah, I think depending on the customer you're attracting, if that makes sense to them, it's important. And, like another example is say a plastic deodorant container might cost you 40 cents or something like that. But a paper one will be $2, so it's way more expensive, but it's the right thing to do. So you just have to figure it out and hope your customers appreciate it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Doing right things is never easy or it's not cheaper, it's expensive. So, yeah, that's true. Well, Cameron, thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed the conversation. I wish there were more we could talk about. Maybe I'll call you on phone someday or maybe come
Sounds great.
visit you.
That
Yeah.
sounds good.
But yeah, so today I've learned a lot, enjoyed the conversations, know your point of view and why you're in business, the way you run the business, and all the hard work that goes into building a business that started with $80,000 in revenue. Now 12 plus stores, 20 plus partners. That's amazing, actually. That's a good job. Congratulations to you and your wife.
Congrats to you as well. So it's been a pleasure.
Awesome, man.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks. That's it for this episode of the Customer Centric Retailing Podcast. If you like what you heard, you can subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and Google Podcast. Please rate and review and recommend to a friend or a fellow retail fanatic. This podcast is presented by Hotworks Commerce.